You're welcome to this tutorial. Face the National Common Entrance Examinations for 2020 with confidence. This tutorial is to show you how you may conquer your fear for mathematics with the use of a past question paper, Math 2016, I mean questions 1 to 5. The Pareto principle suggests that 20% of all your preparations during this time will account for 80% of all the success you will get. 80%, do you get that? Let's help you make your 20%. There are 40 questions in the National Common Entrance Examination section, and they grow in difficulty levels from question 1 to 40. Solve the first 5 correctly and build the confidence to do the next 5. However, aim not to spend more than 5 minutes doing so. So the first question says, write CMLXXXII in Arabic numbers. There is a mantra that would help you. It goes with the letters MDCLXVI. M stands for managing, D stands for director, C stands for can, L stands for leave, X stands for extra, V stands for vehicles, and I stands for inside. At any point in time in this video that you do need to get clarification over what was said or what has been pointed out to, you could replay the video back and see what it is that you need to see. So back to what we're saying, MDCLXVI stands for Managing Director Can Leave Extra Vans Inside. Okay, now with Roman numerals, anytime you have a number that is written to the left hand side of another number that is larger than it, in other words, if you have a smaller number written on the left hand side of a larger number, then the smaller number is subtracted from the larger number. On the other hand, if you have a larger number on the left hand side and a smaller number on the right hand side, you add the two numbers. So M stands for 1000 in that mantra I called, D stands for 500, C stands for 100, L stands for 50, X stands for 10, V stands for 5, and 1 stands for I. Okay, if you look up the WhatsApp group, you will see some pieces of material that are kept there in terms of that will serve as notes for you in the, your study. So if we look at this video now, if you look at this number, this is M is 1000, C is 100, and C, which is smaller than 1000, is on the left hand side of M. So you will subtract this 100 from this 1000, and that gives you 900. You write it in place value. Now you have the next one, which is LXXX. If you notice, the X's here are all smaller than this number here, because this is X, this is 10, this is another 10, this is another 10. Adding them together, you have 30. 30 is still smaller than L, which is 50. So we have 50 plus 30. 50 plus 30 will give us 80. We write that in place value. What I mean is writing the zeros under the zeros and then the tens placed where they are. Then you have the two I's. The two I's stand for 2. Okay, when you add them together. So you put that also in place value and you add. So you have 982. So number 2 says write 8,200,009 in figures. Please, there was a mistake here. It's supposed to be 200,000. What you do is that you pick the numbers first of all before a comma, and then the numbers before the and, okay, and then you write them down with the figures that remain. So you have the first one before the comma, 8 million. You write 8 million. Million always has 6 zeros behind it, so 8 and 6 zeros. Then you have 200,000. 100,000 has 5 zeros always behind them, so you write 5 zeros and you put 2 in front of it. Then you have the 9, okay, you put the 9 on that. Now the AND tells you that you have to add everything, so you add everything according to place value, and you have 9, you have 0, you have 0, you have 0, 0, you have 2, and you have 8. So there you have it, 8,200,000 and 9, okay, in figures. The third question says change 7.5% to fraction in its lowest terms. Okay, the very first thing you would notice when you see this question is that it brings two topics together. It brings the fraction topic and it brings the percentage topic together. Okay, so you will have to deal with the fractions and the percentages together to be able to solve this problem. So first things first, if you notice, the fraction there is not an improper fraction, it is not a proper fraction, it is a mixed fraction. Okay, and as a rule of thumb, anytime you see a mixed fraction in your questions, the first thing you should do to that particular mixed fraction is to turn it into an improper fraction. The next thing you remember each time you see a percentage sign is that percentage practically means divided by 100. So we're going to turn this 7 whole number 1 over 2 into a fraction, okay, into an improper fraction, and then we're going to divide it by 100. Now another way to say divided by 100 is to say 1 over 100 or times 1 over 100. So we have 7 times 2, which is 14, plus 1, which is 15. So we have 15 over 2 times 1 over 100. That gives us 15 over 200. Now with 15 over 200, you know this is not the lowest terms it can be. 15 is divisible by 5 because it ends with 5. 200 is divisible by 5 because it ends with 0, you know. So we'll say 5 into 15, that's 3. 5 into 200, that's 40. So we'll go to question number 4. What is the square root of 2 whole number 1 over 4? Again, this is another problem with a mixed fraction. So like I said, the very first thing you do is to convert that mixed fraction into an improper fraction. So what do we have? We have 2 times 4, which is 8, plus 1, which is 9. So we find the square root of 9 over 4. Now usually when you have square roots of fractions like this, it is equivalent to finding out the square root of the numerator or the number on top, and the denominator, the square root of the denominator, which is the number below. So in this case, the square root of 9 is 3 and the square root of 4 is 2. Now 3 over 2 is an improper fraction, and you never leave an improper fraction as an answer. Okay, that should come to as a rule of thumb. So you divide this, and 2 can be found in 3 ones with 1 remainder. Then you put down the divisor on that. So that's 1 whole number 1 over 2. You're welcome to this tutorial. Face the National Common Entrance Examinations for 2020 with confidence. This tutorial is to show you how you may conquer your fear for mathematics with the use of a past question paper, Math 2016, I mean, questions 1 to 5. So you can calm down. Breathe deeply. Okay, just remember three things at the end of this, alongside all the tricks that you've learned within your course of study from 1 to 5. That the Pareto principle suggests that 20% of all your preparations during this time will account for 80% of all the success you will get. Participate actively and practice often. You really need to follow up on all our platforms to make sure that you're doing the necessary work that you will need leading up to the exam time. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is that there are 40 questions in the National Common Entrance Examinations Maths section, and they grow in difficulty levels from question 1 to 40. Look, in every examination that you will write that has to do with math, they usually like to start with the easier questions first, and then it will gradually grow to the more difficult questions. So if you're able to build your confidence as you go, you will find it easier. So solve the first 5 correctly and build the confidence to do the next 5. However, aim not to spend more than 5 minutes doing so, because of course you're going to be timed. You're going to be timed. You have about 45 minutes to do 45 to 60 minutes to do your let me just say 42 minutes, not even 45. Let me say 42 minutes to do your math. You have 10 minutes to do your basic science, and then it goes down like that. So the time is really very, very stiff, and you really have to work on that schedule. Okay. The third thing you need to learn is that by the time you are done with the first 5, you would have mastered 80% of the courage you need to finish the remaining 30 questions. So it's at this point we've come to the end of our questions 1 to 5 2006 math building confidence session, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you try these problems yourself. Switch up some of the numbers. If the question was 2 whole number 1 over 4, switch up the question to make it maybe 7 whole number 1 over 2, and then try it. Okay, find out what those answers will become when you switch the answers, and then let us know on the feedback page platform of our WhatsApp. Okay, so from here we'll be saying bye, and watch out for the next episodes of these videos.